Use the code CHICKEN in the shop.
Hey guys, the Chickens here. We're back today with another Boom Beach video. In today's video, guys, we're going to do a little wrap-up and review on Season 39. At the time I make this, it's not over yet, so I don't actually know if I made the top 500 or not. It's going to be close. I'm still leaning towards I'm probably going to get squeaked out at the very end, but we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. But guys, if you have enjoyed the videos and all that stuff throughout the season, I do appreciate it if you throw in that code CHICKEN in the shop. We're going to have crab this week, second builder, instant training, all that stuff. I appreciate you if you throw my code in there. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we'll talk about this a little bit later on this week, but there's a lot to unpack from that interview with Nunu. I felt like it was actually, going into it, I thought it was going to be kind of more or less what we already know all the time. It's like, yeah, it'd be nice to do stuff, but we can't really because of the team size, whatever. But I think he really hinted at some pretty cool stuff and just the overall state of the game. Like I'm feeling good about it. So if you haven't seen that one, make sure you check it out. It was really fun. But we'll talk more about some of that stuff later this week and in today's video a little bit. But yeah, so Season 39, let's go over it. Now, right out of the gates, a 4-week season. We've said it a million times. Not as fun as the 3-week seasons, but I felt like this season was fine. Like if I was to rate it out of 10, maybe a 5, I think. Like, I don't think this season really had anything overly good or exciting about it, but at the same time, it didn't have a lot of game-breaking stuff that made it unplayable. It was just kind of a meh, like a very boring average season, in my opinion. So, we had Brick right out of the gates this season. Now, the problem with Brick, and we talked about this on the interview, was her Battle Ores bug that crashed the game, so that just became so widely apparent everywhere to everyone. Why they would put Brick right out in front when they know that's going to happen for the majority of players doesn't make any sense to me. So other than that, pretty standard kind of start. For me, it was frustrating because I didn't realize you could go from mortars to 3 ERs. So I actually unlocked cannons and flamethrowers right out of the gates, which kind of forced me to play an entirely different season that I would have going into it. But this is there's going to be good stuff in here too. It's just, so far we're at the beginning of the season, which was a disaster. We had Brick with Battle Wars crash the game, and we had no sneak peeks this time around, which made it really hard to plan. And when I was streaming at, whenever the season comes up, 3 o'clock in the morning, very easy to make mistakes in that mindset. So, yeah, as we move along, we had early Kavan, we had building health. We had kind of average stuff. We had a lot of good stuff between 3 and 4. And it was definitely, I think it was more offensive meta right out of the gates. But it kind of quickly shifted to defensive as we got to the end of 3 and into early 4. Now 4ER was a problem because we were at that point, especially for non-IT players, where it became really difficult to just simply take down the base. And, that's fine in a sense, but we also can't have people doing battle after battle after battle, not getting engine rooms down, not being able to get chests. That is always bad, no matter how you slice it, and we need to really focus on being able to avoid that. I know it's tricky, but we have to be able to avoid that because it's just not fun. It's just straight up not fun, and it's too time consuming. And that can ruin the season for a lot of people, especially non-IT, when you got to grind, and then, the chest goes by and you're out. So we got to... Yeah, gotta fix that somehow. 4 shock launchers was interesting. I'll give them that. It was kind of, it kind of amplified the problems of the 4ER base. But then once we got past that, it was actually kind of cool to have to have 4 shock launchers out, just a little bit different, and got to make some really wild bases start to come out of that. So once we got out of 4, we got into 5. Things opened up a little bit. We kind of got to the point where we were able to clear them or at least grab 1 or 2 ERs. For me, that's when I started to make my breakaway. I was really behind all season. I don't think I was early to Diamond this season at all, or not as early as I could have been. But yeah, when we got to 5, I had all the defenses, and that's when we started to take off and get some momentum and move forward. And that's when I really picked up on offense as well. Yeah, so we went from 5, and then the plan was to go straight into 6. And the problem with 6 was the 2 gigantic key vacuums. Key vacuums are never fun. You know, key vacuums are there in a sense because they have to fill nodes on the tech tree, but they don't necessarily have to be on required paths. Like Everspark's in the great spot. You can get her if you want, and you know if you want to, fine. If you think it'll work with whatever. But you know, if you're going to heavy choppers first, like most people were, you don't have to pick her up. So I mean, it's very simple. Move the cannons to where the medics are, and you know, move the something else that's decent. Maybe put, I don't know, another GBE node or something. Swap a GBE node that doesn't need to be there, or put Rifleman there. Rifleman at least have some benefit with Kavan. But yeah. So then we got to heavy choppers, and that was a very long time, I felt like, between going from 5 to 6. We were kind of in that just transition period of everybody else is catching up in tech while we're trying to go ahead and get the heavy choppers, and it ended up paying off. I mean, it always does. And by that point, we were pretty solidified in diamonds, so it wasn't a big deal. It just goes to show, like, points like that where there's, like, transition in the tech tree while you're just simply, you know, you have a couple days, especially in a longer season, a couple or a few days of chest collecting before you get to where you need to go next. It doesn't matter what your rank is. Like, I fell down, before I got heavy choppers, I was, like, very close to dropping right back into gold at rank 20. We got heavy choppers, we got up to 22 or 23 pretty easily. Now we started to add stuff, right? We started to go back. We got the building health. Where was that? Way back here? No, we had that one before, I'm sure. Where was the building health? Oh, yeah, right here. So we went back, we got the building health, and then that brought us up to 24, 25, I think. Yeah, I guess that was pretty well it. So from there, I just backfilled a little bit, and I've been parked for 3 days almost at the time of this video. So yeah, it was a very interesting season for me because typically I'm always grinding it out on those last few days, but just the way it was going, I didn't feel like grinding with my tech was going to get me any higher. So I kind of just got to where I did and threw in the towel. We'll see if it pays off. I don't know. I mean, maxed 6s were good for like a day or two, and that's when I was trying to push. I just couldn't get up into that legendary rank. So, yeah. It's always very tricky, you know, when to park, when not to park. And typically you can not park and you can just keep going because in a 3-week season we're going to unlock everything, right? And then it's like, okay, you know, I'm going to be a little bit behind until, you know, maybe the last day or the day before, but by that point I'll have everything, and then, you know, then it's just who's got the better base, who's got the better attack, who's got the better skills, right? So didn't come down to that to me for this season because I simply was not going to be able to get any of the good stuff in 70R, like the DBD, Troop Health would have been great, and the Doom Cannon. So we had to bypass some of those, but overall, the season was okay. Like I said, I'd probably give it like a 5 out of 10. Just didn't have, you know, enough creativity in the tech tree. I felt like it was a little bit boring, and there were some obvious mistakes. But with that being said, there were some cool things. The double shocks are definitely nice. You know, it's a new defense that we have to figure out, which is always fun. And, like, overall, everything worked. You know, like, people got to where they wanted to be at, you know, at 60R or at 70R at the same time. My mini account, I think I got him to gold and just left him at rank 16. So he's not going to get off to a massive start next season. But yeah, so I want you guys to let me know in the chat, where did you finish? Because you'll know this by now before I do. Where did you finish? And just your overall thoughts on the season. If, you know, I think all they have to do with these 4-week seasons to make them better is just simply give us more keys per chest. And I don't know if they can or they will do that. Should have asked that yesterday. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm excited. In the interview yesterday, Nunu talked about Season 50, them doing something special for that. So things to look forward to. That's a year from now. So the game's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Warships is not going anywhere. And the chicken, probably not going anywhere. I mean, unless I get hit by a bus or something, knock on wood. I'll still be making these warship videos each and every single day. I love it, man. I love it. You know, I know I get frustrated with it sometimes. I think we all do. and at the end of the day, it's a really fun game, and there's not a lot of games that out there that are really like this. So I mean, it's kind of it's a very it's very unique in a sense. So yeah, I really do love it, and I hope you guys feel the same. So either way, let me know what you're thinking down below in the comment section, how you made out on the season, and what you're looking forward to going forwards into season 40 coming up next. So guys, thank you all so much for watching. That is going to wrap up the video today. We'll catch you in the next one. Chicken out. Back.